Title: The Hero Without a Home. In the small town of Willow Creek, everyone knew the name Daniel Carter. He was the man who never hesitated to run into burning buildings when others ran out. The man who pulled children out of smoke-filled bedrooms, who cradled frightened dogs and cats in his arms as if they were his own. He carried old women down stairwells, risked his own lungs against thick black smoke, and time after time he came back alive. The people called him the town's angel in uniform. When Daniel walked into the grocery store, strangers offered to pay for his food. At parades, kids ran up to hug him, their eyes wide with admiration. Mothers and fathers nodded at him with respect, sometimes whispering, "That's the man who saved our neighbor's boy." But what the town didn't know was what awaited him when he hung up his uniform and went home. Behind closed doors, the man who saved lives daily was treated as if he had none. His wife, once his high school sweetheart, rarely looked him in the eye. Her words were sharp, laced with bitterness, as if his bravery belonged to her and he hadn't done enough. "You're never around. You care more about strangers than your own family." First, Daniel excused it. He thought maybe she was lonely, tired, or just needed more from him. So he gave more. He worked longer hours, picked up extra shifts, bought flowers, cooked dinners. But nothing changed. The more he poured out, the more she drained him. She called him useless when he was exhausted. She mocked the scars on his arms, the burns he couldn't hide. She turned cold when he came home smelling of smoke. And when he sat in silence, trying to process the things he saw on the job, the lives he couldn't save. She told him he was weak, pathetic. His house was not a home. It was a cage of unspoken pain. Neighbors saw a smiling firefighter who carried their burdens. His fellow firefighters saw a fearless leader. But no one saw the man sitting at his kitchen table at midnight, staring at his untouched plate, feeling more invisible in his own home than he ever did among strangers. And still Daniel gave. He gave until one night, during a 3-alarm fire at a factory, Daniel collapsed inside from smoke inhalation. His team carried him out, fighting to save the man who had always saved them. But by the time they reached the hospital, his heart had stopped. The town mourned like never before. The church bells rang, flags flew at half-mast, and the streets filled with faces wet with tears. Children held pictures of him. Families told stories of how he had saved them. They built a statue in his honor, a bronze figure of him carrying a child in his arms. But at his funeral, when people looked at his widow, they whispered how lucky she was to have had him.